In this WrestleTalk news, a new Triple H signing denied his WWE return, more backstage chaos and last-minute Raw changes, and Luke's review of last night's Raw. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
In recent weeks and months in WWE, there's been a distinct lack of new signees, even with the Raw after WrestleMania traditionally being the time for those sorts of things to happen. This is perhaps due to the ongoing reported unofficial hiring freeze that also just happens to conveniently coincide with the return of Vince McMahon and the sale of the company to Endeavor. Funny that. But wait, don't get too down. What if I told you there was one surprise return that WWE still has up their sleeve, one they've been sitting on since bloody November? It was rumored back in December that WWE had re-signed former Sanity frontman Eric Young, but we hadn't seen or heard anything about him since. Well, now Fightful Select are reporting that Eric Young is still under WWE contract and was actually signed on November 1st. Despite his WWE contract, EY was able to finish up his dates with Impact Wrestling, being kayfabe murdered in the process. So, where the hell is he now? Well, no one seems to know, as not only has Young obviously not appeared on WWE TV, he also reportedly hasn't been on live events or even backstage in any capacity. It's a rather peculiar one. Fightful does take note that Young's hiring was specifically made for him to compete in a wrestling capacity. Despite Young's veteran status, he was not hired to just be a producer, coach, or any other non-wrestling role. Who knows, but perhaps we'll get an update on this soon. Stay tuned to WrestleTalk.com for any updates. And speaking of Vince McMahon, it seems like last Monday's Raw after Mania has forced us down a path of uncertainty ahead of literally every Raw, SmackDown, and even NXT, where we ask, did Vince write this? Is this a Triple H or a Vince show? Oh god, they said local medical facility again! However, ahead of last night's Raw, we look to be steering clear from the creepy mustache-infested waters of Vince, as it was reported by sources such as Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer that McMahon was not in Seattle for Raw. However, that of course doesn't necessarily mean the show was safe from script rewrites and last-minute changes. As for talent, following Vince's SmackDown no-show, Fightful noted that many had a wait-and-see approach to Vince's role going forward. But I know you've seen that headline, it says major rewrites. That means Vince, right? Well, not this time. As noted by Corey Graves early in the Raw broadcast, several WWE talents were significantly affected by travel issues prior to Raw, which was legitimate. Both Sean Ross Sapp and Andrew Zarian would report the same prior to the show, with Zarian stating that it affected 50% of the roster. Mike Johnson of PW Insider even reported that these travel delays were an absolute travel day from hell for a huge portion of the Raw roster. We would see this travel disruption firsthand through the forced scrapping of many previously announced matches, such as The Miz vs. Matt Riddle and Bianca Belair vs. Io Sky. While Sky and eventually Riddle would make appearances on the show and play significant roles, it clearly played a part in disrupting the creative plans. However, while travel woes were the primary reason for the changes, Fightful did also note that several members of the roster were flown into Seattle for the show, only to be told that they weren't actually needed, with some even finding out the news right after they landed, which is a bit rubbish to say the least. So another week of backstage chaos overshadowing the actual show itself, but hey, at least it wasn't Vince for once. And now, I need to get out of here before Luke comes in and tries to hot tag me. Goodbye!
Thank you for your support on Patreon, the Cleaner Kenny Shah and the British Bulldog Philip Boy J. Smith Jr. Get your name read out on the WrestleTalk news by heading on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. As we await Ollie Davis's big speech that will explain everything, it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka sponsored by Renfield edition of Monday Night Raw, in about 5 minutes. The travel issues were immediately on show as Rey Mysterio, of all people, opened Raw. Here's your customary brand split LOL you ordered, my lord. 2 cuts. Basically the same promo he's cut on his son since this feud started. And Dominic Mysterio came out to basically cut the same promo he's been cutting on his deadbeat dad since this feud started, only he gets incredible heat for it. But that is the brilliance of Dominic Mysterio. You don't need to change his promos or mess around with things. Outside of Roman Reigns, Dominic Mysterio is getting the best heel heat in the whole company. It led to a match between Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio, which Kevin Patrick called a dream match. Despite happening quite a bit last summer, Rey managed to stop Dominic interfering once, but not twice, as he clocked his dad with the chain and Balor pinned him with the coup de grace. A nice little bit of rehabilitation for Finn after his loss to Edge at Mania, and a decent way to continue the build to the inevitable tag team match with Bad Bunny at Backlash. Or is it WrestleMania Backlash. Becky Lynch wasn't able to team with Lita to defend her tag titles that I forgot they had, as Lita was attacked backstage by a mystery attacker and taken to the local medical facility. She instead teamed with Trish Stratus to defend the belt against Dakota Kai. No, wait, sorry. Aaliyah. No, wait, sorry. Shotzi. No, wait, sorry. Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, everyone. Is definitely and always has been Liv Morgan. Anywho, they then won the tag titles when Morgan pinned Trish Stratus after ducking the chick kick. The match had shockingly little crowd reaction for the majority of it, despite titles being on the line and a legit Hall of Famer in the ring wrestling on TV like it was nothing. But the action was decent, with everyone, mostly Becky Lynch, busting their asses to get this Seattle crowd into it. And then after the match, Trish decked Becky and turned heel, presumably outing herself as the person who attacked Lita as well. Paul Heyman cut a promo to push the idea that Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle were not here tonight to help Kevin Owens in his match against Solo Sikoa, and Bayley made peacekeeper in her group who felt that one of them should be in the triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship instead of Bayley, who said she would go and speak with Adam Pearce about getting that changed. Bobby Lashley took on Bronson Reed in a very fun big meaty men slapping meat match. Like a lot of Bronson Reed matches in WWE, he got zero reaction from the crowd, and that bled into the match early doors. But Bobby is so massively over, and the crowd enjoyed seeing him battle this behemoth. So like a lot of other Bronson Reed matches in WWE, the crowd got more into him the longer this went on. They brawled to the outside and the referee counted both of them out, leading to a brawl around ringside with security breaking it up, including P.T. Williams, so this is a 5 out of 5 show. And then it was time to hear from Cody Rhodes! Cody cut a promo about being embarrassed. Embarrassed he lost at Mania. Embarrassed that he got punked out by Brock Lesnar the following day. Embarrassed he got upstaged by a rubber chicken in the ring on what was supposed to be the biggest night of his career. He then quite hilariously buried the idea from some fans that are defending his loss at Mania by saying he hasn't gone through adversity yet, by pointing out that has been his story since leaving the company almost a decade ago. And then he challenged Brock Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania Backlash. That's right, WrestleMania Backlash. Could have been just a slip of the tongue, it is still advertised as just Backlash on WWE.com, but could also be one of those odd Vince decreed decisions. You know, like how Becky called it a local medical facility earlier in the show. Brock Lesnar will be on Raw next week. They announced that Logan Paul had re-signed with WWE and even showed that hilariously photoshopped image that he posted on social media, and the Usos took on Alpha Academy in a terrific little match. It was very clear that the Seattle crowd were into the Usos, as they got a massive pop when Heyman name-dropped them earlier. But they came unglued for a lot of this match, equally going banana for babyface Chad Gable, who continues to rule. His run with the moonsault to the outside and his diving headbutt for a near fall was superb, and he was also the man to take the fall when the Usos pinned him with the 3D. A very fun professional wrestling match. The crowd were less hot for Io Sky taking on Piper Niven and Mia Yim in a 3-way to crown a new #1 contender for Bianca Belair, but can you really blame them? All three of these women should be in this position, but they've not been presented that way, and the crowd responded in kind to that. I'd wager the large majority didn't see Sky's great run in NXT, Niven's in NXT UK, or Yim's in Impact. They've only seen what's been on WWE TV, and that's not been a lot. Corey Graves even said on commentary that Mia Yim came into WWE with a lot of fanfare, but hasn't done anything since. Like that's somehow her fault. But this match was all about getting people into Io. The commentary team put her over hard, and she was presented as almost the babyface in the match to get all of the shine. She won with the over the moonsault, pinning Yim. It was a great performance and a decent match, and sets up Bianca Belair versus Io Sky, which sounds grand to me. Let's just hope that this Io Sky push can continue. Bayley looked on like a proud mum after the match, which could be a sign that she'll actually be the one to turn babyface if and when her team turn on her. And the main event saw Solo Sikoa beat Kevin Owens, who could not overcome the numbers game against the Usos, which was, you know, the story we got in the lead up to WrestleMania. Look, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer here, but we literally had this 2 weeks running literally last month. Sammy and Riddle arrived after the bell, running straight from the airport to make the save. Owens was so damn good in this match, as was Solo Sikoa, but I do feel like this feud has lost a little bit of steam. It's like booking the same match after a rivalry has finished on MyGM mode on WWE 2K23. It's just on cooldown. But what a difference 1 week and one less old man can make. Considering that Triple H only had half of the roster he was supposed to because of travel issues, he did a lot better than Vince did last week with a full-strength crew. Wasn't a brilliant episode by any stretch of the imagination and largely quite missable, but it was better than last week, so in fact, it's 3 out of 5. But now that that's all done, it's time for me to walk to the other side of this room where my brothers in hot tag arms are waiting for me so we can hear a speech from Oliver Davis.
Wrestling news it's gonna die. About 3 weeks ago, we did an update video here on WrestleTalk, and we all spoke about the new series we were gonna make, and the storylines we were gonna do, and the fun we were gonna have. You ever notice in that video, all of these guys and everyone who works here, they were there, and not a single person said thank you to me. Because I created wrestling news. Before me, there was nothing on YouTube. It was just cats. If you wanted wrestling news back then, you had to listen to a radio. There was nothing for your eyes. Some of you, so desperate for a wrestling news fix, you'd have to read. But in 2016, I created wrestling news. Back then, there were no cuts, didn't jump around. I had to record huge blocks of text with no gaps. I screw up, I go back to the start. I start again. I get up at 5 AM every morning after nights of barely sleeping because I had a compulsion to make these videos, to grow a channel, to make friends, to talk about the art form that touches me in a way nothing else does. Professional wrestling. I would write, I would film, I would host, I would edit, I'd upload, I'd make the thumbnail twice, every day, for 2 videos a day. I did all of that, me, no one else. There was no overnight success. I toiled and I sweated and I experimented and I tweaked and I brought in friends who worked just as hard as me, no days off, for years to create wrestling news into the monolith you watch today. Wrestling news is everywhere now. There used to only be WrestleTalk, and it's made wrestling news mad. Wrestling news cycle is quicker. The stories are crazier. Cody left AEW. Vince McMahon left. CM Punk. CM Punk. CM Punk. CM Punk. It's not just me who has WrestleMania. Wrestling news has WrestleMania. The slow-eating kind of WrestleMania. Oh, it's not quick. I'm not gonna let WrestleMania kill what I've created. This is what I built. Wrestling news is mine. It's mine. I created it. I'm not gonna let WrestleMania kill what I created, because I'm going to kill what I've created. I'm gonna kill my creation. I'm gonna inject it with a lethal dose of poison. If anybody's gonna kill my creation, I'm gonna do it. Me and the... Can you guys... Sorry. Me and the new world, Ollie. In this WrestleTalk news, Vince McMahon breaking up a top WWE faction, Drew McIntyre's WWE future, Vince blocking Triple H hires, and more.